Okay, welcome to Emmysmart Academy. So we're going to be talking about something very important, and that is differential equation. So we're talking about differential equation today. Basically, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what is a differential equation? When we say an equation is a differential equation, what comes to basically our mind? That the first thing. That's the first thing that will come to our mind. What is a differential equation? So let's put out the definition very quickly. So a differential equation is an equation. The differential equation is an equation involving an unknown function and one or more of its derivatives and one or more of its derivatives. So a differential equation is an equation involving an unknown function and one or more of its derivative. So what do we mean? So let's look at this function. Let's give an example. We have this function x dy dx plus y equal to 0. So basically this in this function, that in this equation that we just stated, you find out that we have dy dx, right? So dy dx means differentiate y with respect to x, right? That means x now becomes the what? Independent variable. X is independent, and then y is what? The dependent variable. Y depends on x. So and then we said it contains an unknown function and one or more of its derivatives. So the derivative we are talking about is the dy dx. So dy dx is what? The derivative we are talking about. So it can also be written as x f prime of x plus what? F of x equal to what? 0. So it can be written like this as well. So this form is called the prime notation form. Prime notation form. That's the form as we just wrote it as. So in that form, we have it as x f prime of x plus f of x equal to 0. So it can also be written this way: x y prime plus y equal to 0. So y prime means to differentiate y. Basically, that's what it means. So plus y is the what? The unknown function, right? That's basically what y is. Y is the unknown function, and then the derivative of that unknown function is what? Y prime. Okay. Now let's look at another example of a differential equation. We could have 2 d squared y dx squared plus dy dx raised to power 3 equal to 0. Now looking at this, is this guy a differential equation? Remember, we said a differential equation is an equation involving an unknown function. So what is the unknown function? The unknown function should be y. So we see that we have 2 there, right? And then 2 is, what function should 2 be? 2 with respect to what? Second derivative of y with respect to x, right? And then we also have another derivative there, dy dx. Said an unknown function and one or more of its derivatives. So one or more of its derivatives. So we have so it could be a derivative in one, it could be a second derivative as well, one or more of its derivatives. Okay, so that's also an example of what? A differential equation. So we can also have other ones, right? We can have other ones. Here we have L d squared I dt squared plus r di dt plus 1 over ci equal to EW cos omega t, right? So basically, the independent variable. So to find out the one that doesn't depend on anything, the independent variable is which one? So t will be the independent variable. T will be independent. The independent variable is T. And then I depends on what? I depends on T, right? Remember, it's second derivative, right? The squared I all over the T squared means second derivative of I with respect to T. So basically, T is the independent variable. T doesn't depend on I, but I depends on what? T. I is dependent. And then we have L, we have R, we have C, we have omega, and then we have E as well as what? Parameters. They are called parameters. They are called parameters. Okay. So let's find out the order of a differential equation. The order of a differential equation. Order of a differential equation. So we have first order, we have second order, right? So what makes me call a particular equation first order equation or a particular equation second order equation? So we have this example, we have dy dx equal to cos x, right? Dy dx equal to cos x. So the order is the exponent on the differential. The exponent on the differential. The exponent on the differential. So what differential it is? So the exponent on the differential is the order of the differential equation. The exponent on the differential is the order. So if it is first differential, right, of y with respect to x, it becomes first order derivative. So the exponent on the d, right, on the differential is the order. Right? So we also said that means for this guy now we have dy dx, right, equal to cos x. So the what's it called? What would it be called? The differential is what? First differential of what? X with respect to first differential of x equal to what? Cos x. So or you can write it as y prime, right, equal to cos x. So y prime equal to cos x. That is what it is. So y prime, that means is first differential, which is what? First order. So that is the first order differential equation. First order differential equation. Okay. So what else are we going to look out for? So the degree now. What is the degree? So for the degree, we said to get a degree is basically the power, right, or the exponent on the highest differential, right? The highest order, the highest differential, right? Good. So the degree is the highest order. So the degree is the power, right? The power in its highest differential become the what? The degree. Become the degree. So for this particular one we have y prime, right, equal to what? Cos x. So you can write it as a polynomial, right? When it's written as a polynomial, so as a polynomial we have y prime equal to cos x. So prime is the highest differential, so that means is of the first degree, first order differential equation of the first degree. So first order differential equation of the first degree, that's what it is, of the first degree. Okay, so what do we do? What the next? Let's look at another one. Another one. So y prime plus ky squared equal to 0. So for this one now, what will be the order The order will be what? Second order. The order will be second order. And then what will be the degree? The degree will be what? First degree. First degree. First degree. Basically because in the highest derivative, right? The second derivative of y, we have e raised to power 1. So basically I'll write it as a polynomial and then raise it to the power. So the power that is there in that polynomial becomes the what? The um, the degree, right? Good.